And now let's welcome our next speaker, Francesco Barbieri. Francesco is a research scientist at Alpha Telefonica IMSD. He got his bachelor degree in computer science from the University of Bologna. He studied his master's in the University of College Dublin, and he recently received his PhD in computer science here at the UPF. Francesco works on figurative language that expresses irony, sarcasm, and satire through Twitter posts, recommendation, and multimodality. Thank you, Francesco, for being here.
Okay, thank you. So today I'm going to talk about this paper we presented a few months ago at EMNLP. We use this label-wise attention mechanism to understand how emoji are predicted. So this is joint work with Luis, Jose, and Steven from Cardiff University, and Horacio from UPF, who is here. So why emojis? And I guess most of you know what an emoji is. So there are these small icons that we use with our phones and in social media usually. And why are we interested in emojis? So this is for three main reasons. The first one is because they're very popular. So we really want to understand emojis because they're used a lot, and we see emoji like every day, and I think computational systems should be able to understand and use this kind of new language. And the second reason is also because it's a very interesting example of multimodal language. So you have images, small icons combined with text to create new meanings, and I believe, and I think I'm not the only one. So there was it in the keynote, but I guess most of us believe that if we want to create intelligent machine, we really have to use many different modalities and many different input from the word. And the third reason, it's partially a personal reason, but understanding emoji is very challenging. It's super hard. And why? Because emojis are used very differently across different people in different parts of the world, but even with your friends, probably someone use some emoji that you never use and similar things. So, and we actually studied this. We saw that there are a lot of inconsistencies in the use of emojis. So if there are these inconsistencies, how can we actually learn this with a computational system, with a computational model? This was our first question last year. We were asking ourselves if emojis are actually predictable, which means given a tweet, in this case from Roger Federer, can't wait to visit Chicago for the first time next week, what should I do while I'm in town? And then an emoji, then he's thinking, right? So the idea here is, given only the text, can we predict the emoji that was used in this text? We have been studying this. It's somehow possible. It's also very interesting because we did the same task with humans, and the machine in this case was an LSTM, was doing it better than humans. And that's also we used many different input, like images from Instagram posts or Snapchat, and also time information. So if you use an emoji on Monday morning, probably it's not the same on Friday night. But then what we didn't explore was why and how the emoji was predicted. So we really want to understand, given this text, why a certain emoji is predicted. So this is what we did in this paper. And so what we do in NLP usually to understand better a classification, we have in this case an example and a classifier and then some prediction. And then we use these attention maps. I guess most of you saw these already. And these give us an idea of the important words for the prediction. The problem is that with this attention map, we see that the word love and beach are important for the whole distribution probability that we have in output, but we don't know for each word, for each label, what was the important word, right? So what we want is something like this one in the bottom. So we want to know that the word love is important to predict the red heart, and beach, for example, to predict the beach emoji. So this is our main motivation, what we want. How do we do? And what's the model we're using, and what's attention? Guess most of you will know what's attention, but just to be on the same page, just very quickly, we're using an LSTM. So in output, you can have some representation, some hidden representation of each word, each vectors, and you have to combine these vectors to create a center representation. So there are many different ways to combine, to merge these vectors, like average pooling, max pooling, or just taking the last vector. And one of these methods is called attention. It's quite clever because it gives different weights to different words. So if in this case the word love and beach are very important, I will give an alpha weight higher than the rest of the words. So in the final average, these two words are going to be considered more considered. And how do we do? It's just, so we have this vector, we do a weighted average, basically. And these alpha vectors are learned in the network with a parallel small classifier, let's say, that given some words, some vectors, H vectors, tell us, predict these alpha weights. So given this, we can improve results and also have more interpretable results. However, again, what we want is something like this. So we want an attention maps for each label. And this is exactly what we do in this paper. So we propose this architecture that we have, so an attention module for each label. So if we have 4 labels, we have 4 attention modules. And this is very straightforward. So given we give the same input to all the attention modules, so the same sequence of words, H vectors, and then we, for each label, right, so each attention block, focus on specific word, the words that are important for that specific label. And then, so create this sentence representation for this specific emoji, and then predict only one score for that label. And then we combine these and then run the apply the softmax. So this is a model, and it's interesting because it's more interpretable, we see, but also it also works better than standard attention. Here, just a couple of examples of a couple of tasks we did. So where we have 20 labels or 200 labels, so 200 emojis. And here we have a fast text baseline, and then some BLSTM with without attention, with attention, A, and with label-wise attention. So we can see that, especially in the 200 emoji task, our model, the label-wise LSTM works better. And the interesting thing is that the coverage error, so the ranking measure, is way higher. And this is because, so this suggests that the label-wise attention create a distribution probability that is better than the other models. So let's say that the correct emoji that we want to predict, it's usually ranked in better ranks than in the other models. And also we noticed that in general, the label-wise attention seems to focus and give more importance to the least frequent emojis. So this is actually very important. So we are less biased by the frequency, because if you think about, you have an attention block, so you have some specific parameters only for that only want to understand this and focus only on this emoji, even if it's very infrequent. So this is, I think, very interesting result. And then let's see some qualitative analysis. For example, this one, praying we have a snow day tomorrow, and then there is a folded hand emoji used usually for praying. And here there were 200 emojis, but I'm showing here only the first 3 predictions. And so the standard attention on the left correctly predict the emoji and also the label-wise. And then let's see the attention weights. In this case, that standard attention focuses a lot on the word snow, but this is for the second emoji, right? But we don't really know this. While in the label-wise attention, we can show the attention weights for each emoji. And we can see, and it makes a lot of sense, that the first prediction, so the folded hand emoji is predicted because of the word praying. The second is for the word snow. And the third, again, for the praying word. There are the two hands toward the sky. And another example, actually this example, there are a lot of examples. I don't like cherry picking, so I just printed a lot of examples and put it online. You can access them through this link. It's also in the paper. And then this is another example where, so it reads second day snowboarding ever, and I decided to try night boarding. What an experience, and laughing, and the standard attention mispredict the emoji, but also the label-wise attention mispredicted, and it predicts the check emoji because the word second has no wording. But it's interesting, the last misprediction, so the airplane, we can see why it was predicting, and so the last sentence was because there were the word boarding. And so this, I think it's very useful when we want to do some error analysis. And so finally, to wrap up, so this model seems to be very fair, and also applying enough attention, let's say, to the least frequent emojis, and then it helps the interpretability, as we saw. And also, it's not only for emojis. I ran different experiments on any text classification task, and the results are very consistent. And I will publish them as soon as I can. And thank you.